Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of our tactic test. So we got a brand new tactic for you, is right on my side over here, and it is going to be an amazing one. We have a system that is a 3-4-1-2 is going to be being used in our Thon on Avion save, which is going on the channel, and on top of that, it is an assist machine. If you guys are looking for a tactic where you can score boatloads of crosses and goals, especially coming from your fullbacks, I've got the one for you. Especially when you have a player getting 29 assists in one season. So if you want to see how that all works, how it all plays out, and what the best players you want to get for the system to get the best out of it, be sure to check out the rest of this video. Alright guys, so it's time to talk through the tactic. Now, there's been some stuff you guys have asked me to do a little differently, and we are going to do that. So we're going to show some clips, we're going to show some more stats, some more heat maps, and not talk as much about just the kind of results and things like that, as you guys really want to see the other more important details about these tactics. And so because of that, we're going to focus on that. Now, with this clip here, first what I want to talk about is how this team is going to look to build up in terms of that. We're then going to show a little clip or two about it, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the attack, how we're going to score goals, and then on top of that, just the counter pressing that will come from it to be kind of the last one there. Those are the three kind of main things I want to talk about, and then we'll go through a bit of how the teams did in their results. But first is talking about how this team is going to look in possession, and we'll show some pass maps as stuff as well. So with all that being said and how things are going to look, this is pretty much our side, right? This is what we're kind of looking for in terms of our team shape. Now, we want these guys to be more narrow, these guys to hug the touchline, these guys to stay narrow as well. One of the big things that I do want to stress is that's important with the strikers is you need to make sure your strikers stay within these lines here. So this is kind of this channel that you want to make sure your strikers are staying in, okay? I know those are some bad lines, but this is what it needs to stay in. They need to be in these areas here where they're really just centralized. They're staying in that central spot because they need to make runs like this. They need to stay so they're in dangerous positions when they get towards the box. So if they start drifting out here and get into this spot, they're not going to be able to cause much problems. But if they can stay kind of these areas here, stay along these lines to be able to stay centrally, stay attacking, and stay really, really dangerous occupying players, because we need to occupy the opposition centrally so we can have the space to exploit out wide. So they need to stay centralized, like so in those kind of channels. Now your 10 has a little more freedom of movement, but he needs to stay pretty much in that same central channel as well, because we want them to offer a purposeful threat in those areas. So they need to stay quite centrally. These guys have the ability to drift wider, but again, they still need to kind of stay centrally. More so for them, we need them to stay in the width of the box. So, in essence, these guys can go outside the width of that box, but they kind of need to stay in this. This is the farthest distance we want to see them go. Same with our center backs. That's kind of the main thing we want them to stay in there. So, if you can kind of see what I've drawn up in that sense, that's kind of the role of just giving you an idea, understanding in terms of the shape of where I want stuff to be, and central or not central. So, in essence, here's your channels. You have the half space, you have the central channels, and you have the wide channels. So this is the wide channels. So this is the inside left and inside right. So on our inside left channel, we can have the left center back and the left center mid are happy to go in there. Inside right, same thing on that side. But the central channel, we want to make sure our libero stays in, our cam, those are two strikers, stay in this main central channel. And the only guys that go into the wide channel are our wingbacks. So that's kind of the main shape that we want to stay in, those three areas, because it's going to be important to how this works, and they need to, or things will not work correctly. So you need to make sure that you have wingbacks with the instructions to stay wide and hug the sideline. You need them to get further forward and stay wide, because it's going to be really, really important for the way they play. Strikers, you don't want them to drift wide. You don't want drifts wide, and you don't want come back to get the ball, because you need them to stay high as well. You need them to offer an outlet. Now, what's the reasoning that I want to do this? Well, it's all about creating passing lanes and passing angles. That's the big, big thing. So, if we see here with my white line, I'll draw you what I want to see in terms of the shape. This is what I'm looking for in terms of passing shape. Now, these are the passes that we want to see when this team is playing out of the back. Because this is what is going to get us out of there and is going to create these spaces out wide that we want to see. So you can already see already what I've drawn here. So this is the first initial set of angles that we want from our team. So when the goalkeeper has the ball, we want it to go to one of these guys first. I don't particularly want it to go into the libero, but it's okay if it does. But mainly I want to get it wide to one of these guys, because then what happens is that he then has 3 options. 1, 2, or 3. So he can go here, here, or here. If he goes out wide here, this guy's goal is going to be to play possibly 1-2 with him, but to take it and dribble all the way down. We want him to keep going. He's happy he can play 1-2s with the 10 maybe, or with the 8, or maybe with the striker. But his goal is to get from here, once he gets it, travel down the line and get across it. So that's kind of his goal. But when we get it, we want to hopefully go into the 6 first, because then he has the opportunity to go either one of these guys. And if we can get that ball into the 6 first, then gives time for these guys to get up into even higher positions before we can continue attacking. We want to make sure that when it goes wide first, so that the opposition comes onto us a little more, then we can go into the 6, because we don't want them to stay. We want the opposition staying deep. We want them coming higher so there's space to exploit in behind. And we want them going centrally because we want to be able to draw them inside. So if we draw our opposition out here, I'll show you one of the big things that we care about when it comes to having so many players in the middle, because it will draw the opposition in to us in the middle. We're going to assume they play a 4-3-3, because that is very, very common. Very common formation, or 4-2-3-1. I feel like 4-2-3-1 is probably a little more common, so we'll go with that. As their setup. So, if this is their setup, they have 3 players in the middle, right? So they're really going to have these 3. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys, right? Because our strikers are going to be accessible a little easier. They're going to want to bring players up. So they're going to probably want to bring their 8s, their 2 center mids, this guy onto here, and this guy and this guy onto here, right? They're going to want to press high. So that means that they're going to want to press us there. That means their center backs have to come up to our strikers, right? But that means because they're up, they need to bring these guys up here. Then everyone gets pushed forwards. So then either they have to decide to mark here or mark here. So this guy's going to be stuck between these 2. We are hoping they go for this, because then we're hoping that their players try to press up against us guys, our guys there. Because then what happens is that we get the chance to get our fullback isolated against their fullback. And my bet is that if you have the right player, he's going to burn their guy. And that's what we want to see. We want to pull them onto us by playing this first pass short, baiting this player here and this player here into stepping in. We want their striker to be kind of sitting, not knowing where the ball's going to go. Him kind of debating, waiting, where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? Where's it going to happen? Where's this going to go? Either here, or maybe their striker is waiting to press our goalkeeper, meaning their 10 has to step up more, right? That means we then, if they do that, they're going to be encouraged to press here. Boom, we play in here. They then try to step to him. Oh no, guess what? Ping over here. He now is going to be forced to step. Boom, boom, he's in behind. So the thing is that we want to encourage that short ball first so that they come onto us more and start pressing higher. Because if we go direct into that 6 right away, look what happens. So we have the goalkeeper here. Let me take away I'll keep the line so you can see what I'm looking for. So if they're pressing on our 6 right away, it's going to be like this. Their 10 is going to be ready to go. So they're waiting for the ball. They're probably going to have their wingers here. They're waiting for it, right? So if our 6 drops into the box like this, their 9 is going to be on the edge. We go here into him. He's pressed right away. They can then press these guys. We're trapped. This is not good. Only here, ball here, long ball over the top. But if they're waiting to press and our 6 drops in the box and we have our guys in here like this. Actually, let's clear all these. If they're waiting to press that way, what's going to happen is we go short here. He's going to come in here. He's going to press here. This guy is going to have to kind of hold in his spot. So now either this guy has to step to our player here, or this guy has to step in here. But that means that in that moment, once this is played and this guy goes, we have the opportunity to play either here or here to get us out of this jam. There's much more options if we go out wide right away. Or their 9 goes to us. This guy stays here. He comes over. Their 9 goes to us. Boom, now we can play into the 6. Their 7 has to come over. We play one more. Then more players have to show over, and we've bypassed the press. The whole point is that if we play that ball wide first, we have much more opportunities to get away and out of their system than if we didn't. So let's move these guys over here and not worry about them for now. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in terms of that. So we'll move these guys over here. And actually, you know what? Let's get into a clip of showing you how the build out works and important things when it comes to the build out. So to just show you a little clip of some possession stuff. So we win back possession here, and this is exactly what we're looking for. Right edge Gym City. You can see the movement immediately from Rutergi to get wide. You can see Ederson's going to move over to this space. Our 10's kind of over there. Dapo's going to move inside, so we can see this here. Gym City takes a few steps forward. He's going to play Ederson. We already have the player here starting to recognize it in Politano. Politano's recognizing this movement here. Ederson, though, has this ball into Muriel here. Unfortunately, he's going to take an extra step, but by doing so, he does pull over Politano, which then allows him to play Rutergi. It's a poor pass, but it's what just shows you a little bit of the movement that we want to see from some of those players there. I'll show another example as well. So here's an example as well of the build-out. As you can see our shape as I was showing. So the wingbacks incredibly high and wide here. The center mids in the box are 6 right on the edge. And then we have our center mids just kind of staggered here, which helps us out. So as we can see, we go short. Everyone kind of comes in a little bit. Musso is going to play the ball wide. And as I was talking about here, you can see we have the openings here. He can go back across. He's got the ball in here. He's got the ball out wide. So he has options. Those passing triangles. He's going to go into Ederson here. And now has 1, 2, 3 into this space here. And 4 options over there to go to. Going to carry it forwards. He's going to play a wide into Scally. And he's going to take the ball forwards. But you can see here now we've transitioned forwards. Rutergi's in tons of space. We have our 3 players creating an overload in the middle. These 2 guys helping support. And this is our libero here supporting in this area. Our Hattabor playing right back, right center back, and Gym City playing the other roles there. And their player here is kind of left to deal with these guys here. Scally, though, is unfortunately not going to be able to get the cross off. But it shows you a little bit of how we've got down the wing through the attack and the carrying of the ball forward, which I'd mentioned earlier, and the positions everybody's in. So, now getting into the attacking phase of this tactic. The things we want to talk about here are looking at how are we going to try to score goals and what the main way this tactic is going to look to score goals. And if you can already see, there's something here that you guys have probably noticed, which is there's an overload right here in this middle area. I'll make a circle of it for you guys, but there's an overload right here that we have created. And that is going to be the main thing that's going to let us score goals. Now, the fact that we have an overload means that they're always going to have to either man mark or they're going to have to zone mark. If they man mark, they'll leave someone free. But if they zonally mark, that means there's going to be space. The other thing is that if they want to be hyper-aggressive, they'll be forced to drop their striker in to help deal with that overload. Meaning that we then are able to play past them a lot easier because they've now dropped their line. So they're deeper and it's easier to deal with. The thing that we want to hope to see, though, is that what happens is that we have a player in possession here. Their player goes to press. Our wingback is here. Too far for their player to want to step to because it leaves too much space in behind. But kind of they sticks this player in between. They then get the ball here, and they have now the chance to be isolated against him. They get past them, get down the line, hopefully is what we're hoping, and then that's where they get the cross in. And due to this overload, we then now have our 10 making an extra run, and he's unmarked. So that's the goal. Or what happens is that if our 10 is now unmarked, they then have to slide over, right, to do this and cover. Or what we even hope for even more is that they then try to slide over to cover after we've beaten this guy here. He then tries to slide over and cover, meaning there's free players now. We have 3 players and only 1 to 2 people covering. And that's what we want to see, is that we want to focus on having them drop bodies back to deal with the people in the middle. Have their focus go to the middle of the pitch. Okay, shit, there's a lot of people in the middle, a lot of guys there. We have to get that overload. We have to bring those players in. So they overload the middle defensively to deal with it. Maybe they drop in a winger. Maybe they drop their striker. Because of that, we're able to play this ball wide, and we get it wide. where a player is isolated against theirs, he can beat him one-on-one, boom, he's out of the equation. We now are driving towards the box. They're forced to step out, ping, ping. It's an easy one for us. And that's kind of what we're looking for there, is getting into those wide spots. And then it's driving towards the line and crossing. The other way that we want to look to do it is, if we get this ball wide and they step heavy, and they bring people, we want to look to go into an 8 here, into our 8 or someone like that, who then hopefully is able to give it to the 10 who can find space. This 10 can get it, maybe play it into the one of the 9s who then can score, or can then play it back out wide to our wingback who then can get and drive forward and cross. So that's the other part of having that overload too, is that 10 of ours now is able to always kind of free roam in this area here. So this kind of space, the space between the lines of their midfield and defense, which is kind of like right here in this zone, he's going to be able to hover around in this area here, and this is kind of going to be his domain where he can come and get the ball. Maybe he plays one into here, gets around the guy, 1-2, boom, he's in. He gets a cross off now, or the guy's back, cut back to the top of the box, boom, he scores there. So it's things like that we want to look for, and I have some examples of it, especially one of Miranchuk against Cagliari, where he comes to the top of the box, he's able to get that cross, and he can score from the top of the box. So there's stuff like that where he's able to float around in this space here and really find opportunities to get stuff. And that's what we're looking for in that sense. I know it's a little one-dimensional, but that's kind of the gist of what we're doing, and it's simplified for you guys to make it not as sit-down, so extreme, so long. But that's kind of what we're looking for from that little section. So we can see here a pretty good example of what I'm talking about in terms of the way to get the ball back for a cutback to the top of the box to get the goal off, as you can see with that one there. So one of the things that you can see in this clip, we'll just rewind it back a little further, is even with like the build out here. So we'll play this back. So we forced them long off a good high press. Now we've got it here with Palomino. So Palomino's got it. He's played it back. We go into a libero here. We've got it. Scalvini goes wide. We get that pass out. Now we're going to look to go wide here. Can't. So go back into one of those two center midfielders who can carry it wide. He can get it into our striker here. He doesn't have anything. He's going to go back. He's going to get back into the space we need to help with that positional sense. Into the libero, who switches it across to Ederson. He's got space because everyone's tucked inside. You see that? They've dragged their players inside. Rutegi's in so much space. Now watch Miranchuk here. Watch his movement. Holds. Top of the box holds. Remember how I mentioned to you? That's going to be that space in between the two defensive lines? Well, that's what he's done right there. He's sitting in that space. Terzi drives. He sees him open. Plays it. One touch around the defender. Boom. Finish. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is one of those in terms of the example of sitting in that space, how we're going to create the goals, looking to bring the ball wide. That's 100% what we're looking for in the way that we scored that. And it's a great example of what we want to see for those instances there. So the final thing I want to talk about is our counter pressing. So if we are attacking in these areas here, say we lose this ball, so this guy dispossesses our wingback and he's now past it. The things that we want to look for are either this player stepping high or this player coming out to press. Because what's going to happen is he's going to drop back, he's going to drop back, he's going to drop back. And now our players are going to start dropping back. They're going to start coming back in these areas. And they're going to come forward. The hope is that this guy can force this ball wide. He doesn't let it back inside. So he's now forced this ball to be a long ball in behind where these guys have to race against our defenders to get it. And hopefully our keeper, being the super keeper he is, he's got to play this long ball behind the defense. Super keeper gets it. Boom, we have a new attack to start. And that's kind of what we want to look for in that sense, is that if we lose it out wide where they have it, we're going to have bodies inside where it's going to be hard to pass inside with all the people. So they're forced to play this long ball over the top, whereas sweeper keeper deals with it quite easily and restarts a new attack. So that's one way we want to look to counter press to win the ball back and keep possession. Another way that we want to press is if the team has it short and they say win it off one of our strikers or something, we can come hard with the strikers. They can be aggressive and they can try to press, and we can match up for them more than man for man in the middle. We can cover them fully, completely. Strikers, their wingers have our center midfielders, their striker has our libero, all their midfielders are covered, meaning that we can go straight up man for man, everyone they have in this attacking phase, and we can press them like crazy. So if they try to build out that way, we got them. And it's the same thing, say, if they are playing a 4-2-3-1, like the players shift like that, like this, boom, boom, boom. any four-back system, we can go man for man on. And that's kind of what I want to see in terms of the way when we're pressing and doing those things. It's a straight up just man for man system, man on all of it. And that's what we want to see when we're pressing normally. As well as counter-pressing, especially if they win it in these kind of areas here. It's they get the ball, everyone's going to be covered immediately. And that's what I'm hoping to do. So that's kind of how we defend, a little bit on what's going to work for that, how we're going to look to press, and how we're going to look to win those opportunities back and create those chances for them. So the final thing I want to talk about is our counter-pressing. So if we are attacking in these areas here, say we lose this ball, so this guy dispossesses our wingback, and he's now past it. The things that we want to look for are either this player stepping high or this player coming out to press. Because what's going to happen is he's going to drop back, he's going to drop back, he's going to drop back. And now our players are going to start dropping back. They're going to start coming back in these areas. And they're going to come forward. The hope is that this guy can force this ball wide. He doesn't let it back inside. So he's now forced this ball to be a long ball in behind where these guys have to race against our defenders to get it. Hopefully our keeper, being the super keeper he is, he's got to play this long ball behind the defense. Super keeper gets it. Boom, we have a new attack to start. And that's kind of what we want to look for in that sense, is that if we lose it out wide where they have it, we're going to have bodies inside where it's going to be hard to pass inside with all the people. So they're forced to play this long ball over the top, whereas sweeper keeper deals with it quite easily and restarts a new attack. So that's one way we want to look to counter press to win the ball back and keep possession. Another way that we want to press is if the team has it short and they say win it off one of our strikers or something, we can come hard with the strikers. They can be aggressive and they can try to press, and we can match up for them more than man for man in the middle. We can cover them fully, completely. Strikers, their wingers have our center midfielders, their striker has our libero. All their midfielders are covered, meaning that we can go straight up man for man, everyone they have in this attacking phase, and we can press them like crazy. So if they try to build out that way, we got them. And it's the same thing, say, if they are playing a 4-2-3-1, like the players shift like that, like this, boom, boom, boom. Any four-back system, we can go man for man on. And that's kind of what I want to see in terms of the way when we're pressing and doing those things. It's a straight up just man for man system, man on all of it. And that's what we want to see when we're pressing normally. As well as counter-pressing, especially if they win it in these kind of areas here. It's they get the ball, everyone's going to be covered immediately. And that's what I'm hoping to do. So that's kind of how we defend, a little bit on what's going to work for that, how we're going to look to press, and how we're going to look to win those opportunities back and create those chances from them. Time to look at how things went. Our first team was Sheffield United, who we tested with, and things were not great in terms of the overall season where they finished. Just above the relegation zone, just scraping by with a 1-point difference. So not that amazing in terms of that. But some of the things that we can look at, though, in terms of how the team played, their expected points was a lot higher, so they really did underperform heavily. They underperformed by nearly 9 goals as well, so they really struggled to score the goals they needed to, which is really, really bad to see. And it was really, really unfortunate. For some reason, the last match isn't loading, but in the last match here, we can kind of see some things. So even though this team kind of struggled, we can see what we're looking for. A lot of short and medium passes, which is great to see, and a lot of forwards one as well. Forward, sideways are kind of the two main ones. Backwards are that smaller little sliver. And that's kind of what we do want to see. We want to see a lot of forward and sideways passes of moving it around. Now, one of the big things we can see here in just Sheffield United's pass map alone is, look what I was mentioning before, those wide triangles that are made up for them, and that here. So look, we have our 2 strikers here. We have our 10. Unfortunately, it's not as well done, as the 10s need to be in these positions a lot more, whereas they drop too deep. We have our libero stepping into the middle here, creating those central areas with this. But you can see the triangles created out wide, the triangles in the middle here, this triangles with these guys. It's perfect. This guy, Norwood himself needs to, Ahmedhovic needs to be more central, kind of right here, to help this system work better, and the strikers needs to be a little higher up. But you can kind of see what I mean in terms of the pass maps and the way it's structured and the way it's set to be. And they're dealing with it. You can even see the shots. Look where all the shots were, in those central areas right there. And the key passes coming mainly from this left side of those crosses and passes into those areas. So you can kind of see what I mean on that. And even if we look at the pass map against City, it's pretty similar as well. Not as perfect, but even against Arsenal, let's see. Pass map, you see what I mean? It's a lot similar there. Unfortunately, Mkhitaryan and Ahmedhovic are right on top of each other, which is not great for that sense. But you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The strikers are a lot higher in this one, and the team did a lot better. was a 1-1 draw with Arsenal. We can see in the Tottenham one, again, an issue again here, McAtee dropping too deep, some players too high. But you can see what I mean in terms of what we're looking for pass map-wise, in terms of those things there. We're looking at those opportunities to create that shape. And really, this is just it's a good shape to see in things in those sense. So it's unfortunate things didn't go totally as well as we were looking for and what we wanted to see. Goals not too amazing from Brewster and McBurney, kind of the main guys there, and not loads of assists from Tons. But so you can see Baldock getting 8 and Davies getting 4 as well from those areas. Hamer played in the middle the whole time, but you can see that the guys in the wingers, the wingbacks, got the most assists, and we're even chipping in with a few goals here and there. So not too impressive from these guys. Got knocked out in the quarterfinal stuff of this, but it's pretty unimpressive, though it is something to show that there was underlying numbers that meant they should have done better. Now, some teams that really kicked on were Stuttgart, who did incredibly well and really kicked on with this system. So if we look at the competitions, they won the DFB Pokal and they finished 3rd. So it really, really worked well for this side. If we look at some of the stuff, 6th best defense, 3rd best in terms of goals scored. Really, really impressive in terms of a lot of that stuff. We can even look at some of the guys that had the most assists when we look at it. A striker got a lot of assists, but you can see here, wingback on the right got 5 assists when playing on the right. Stiller in the middle got assists as well, but Leif Davis got 7 assists as well. So there's the players on the outside getting a lot of the assists, making the big difference there in terms of the wingbacks getting forward and providing those opportunities. If we look at the last match, we look at their one against Bayern. Look how beautiful this one is. I mean, this is even better than the last. Are you kidding me? Look at this. That perfect setup there. All these passes going through these areas, most frequent. Obviously, the 10 is a little too deep for me. It needs to be a little higher. But look at those perfect triangles out of this one right here in the shape of these. The striker is so much higher up. It's fantastic to see. You can really see what I'm talking about in terms of getting those right shapes and getting those overloads out wide, and these guys staying in those kind of middle areas being so important. And you can see 3-0 win too. Look at where all the shots from. Look where all these key passes came from. All from out wide. All in these wide areas where these key passes are coming from. The shots, all super central as well. So you can see what I mean by that's what we're looking for from this system, is a lot more central, a lot more of those things here. I mean, even let's take a look at the pass map in the game against Leverkusen. Again, so similar in terms of what we're looking for from this shape. Is that really, really lovely... I mean, it's a little wonky against Bayern with the wingback so high, but you can still see what I'm trying to get from this. It did work in that game, but here, even against Augsburg, so the shape, again, really, really good in terms of getting those wide overloads, the player in the middle being kind of the key with the libero. So it's worked really, really well in terms of that stuff, and I'm really, really happy to see it. I mean, we can even look at some of the, let's say, take a look at the heat maps if we can from this last game. But you can see where it is. Lots of the central channels here. So there's lots of stuff here, lots in the middle there in the top area. But the players drifting out wide into these spots here, you can see too. So heavily through the middle. Lots of bodies, lots of players overloading the middle, controlling that space there, and then having those little bits of exploitation out wide. So that's kind of the main goal of it. And that's really what we're looking for. And obviously there's the passing network again. But if you look at So look at our shots. I mean, they're coming from those areas. I wish there was a better way to show it off that. But just give me an idea. That's where we're looking for, and that's what we're kind of hoping to get from these. And you can see it there, all in those smart spots, those right areas, all coming in the right ways. And it's really nice to see. I mean, I don't think they have the shots for match momentum. We have the shots from goals from opposition penalty area. These are ours. But look where all the shots are. Look where all the shots are against Augsburg, all in this central area, right? Leverkusen again. These are theirs. Sorry, do we have that's opposition goals? But you can see what I mean though. Just the stuff there in terms of in the penalty area and stuff like that. So these are even our shots. These are our shots of where we're able to get them off. So it's just showing like it's all those really, really central areas, and I'm really happy to see it because that's what our goal is, to score from that central area in that middle of the box. Now, finally, the one that I'm most proud of is Atalanta, who absolutely smashed it. They won Serie A, they won Coppa Italia, and they got knocked out by Galatasaray in the Europa League. But they did the double in Italy with this. They were fantastic. If we look, expected to finish first, they were amazing in that we can even see the average area of possession and things. You can see in terms of all the attack and even in the defense. Few blocks, few clearances, few tackles, but quiet and impenetrable, frequently wins ball and reliable in possession. It's exactly what we want to be seeing. I don't know why it's doing that. But we look at their pass map. Look at that. Right there. Look at that. We're going right through that libero into those players there. Against strikers, not in the greatest spots, but it looks really nice against Inter. Sorry. Look at the pass map again. Very similar. So you can see what I mean by talking about these pass maps here in the shape that we want to create and want to get from this. So it's really good to see, and I'm really, really happy with it. And then the one against Lazio is a dream. This is what I dream about at night when I make this when I've made this tactic. This is stunning. This is absolutely stunning how well this worked. So I'm really, really happy about that. Now, it is funny that focus our attack was down the right, because you'll see why when I say that. Well, granted, had to board a really, really good game. But you can look, all the key passes coming from these wide areas here, and all the shots very, very central. So heavily central. But the thing that I really want to focus on is how good Matteo Rutergi did in this system. Insane. But we also look at the players with the most assists. Holm, Zappacosta, Kolasinac, Hattabor, where's Hattabor? There's so many of them wide players. The wide players. Rutergi did 29. I mean, it's mental how many he got. But you can see, though, all these opportunities coming from the wide players. The attacks down the width, the most dangerous focus of the areas, heavily down the wings. And you can see from it, too, all those opportunities created out wide. So it's just kind of crazy and insane how much of an impact those spots have had and how much of a difference they truly made in terms of those wide attacking areas. Now, it shows you, I mean, you saw the clips earlier of Rutergi scoring, some of the stuff like that. I use Atalanta just because they did really well, so it was easier to find theirs. But as you could see what I mean in terms of just the way they played and how effective they were in doing so. So just, I mean, honestly, just incredible. I couldn't be happier with how this tactic came out and how the team played. So hope you guys are excited by it as well. So everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy today's tactic, the 3-4-1-2 bombing wingbacks. Obviously, whenever you have a player get 29 assists, clearly something's done really well. But we had cup wins from Stuttgart, Atalanta winning the double, and Sheffield United actually achieving safety, which is kind of nice to see. But I think this tactic is clearly designed for teams that have exceptional wingbacks and are a very fit and very aggressive teams. So you definitely, I think, need to go a little bit more on the higher level side with this one, not as much one that is built for the lower level sides, unless you build correctly. But we shall see as I attempt to use this one with my Evian save. So you guys can find that save in the description below if you guys do want to check out some of the other content in my Welcome to RPG playlist, so there's stuff there for them. But overall, I hope you guys did really like this tactic. It's a cool one indeed. I love 3-back tactics. They're just different. They offer some different things in terms of the way you can press, the way you can go man-to-man and be really aggressive in those areas. And I just find it really interesting in the ways that you're able to do that with those 3-at-the-back systems. But anyway, I guess if you were to ask any questions, leave comments below about things you'd like to know about it, or if there's anything else you guys are interested in tactic-wise. We have some team tactics coming up soon as well. I know we have some other ones next week, some other stuff too, but there's some team-focused tactics that will be coming out soon as well. I hope you guys are looking forward to that. So it's going to be good. But once again, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more tactics. And if you guys want to see any other amazing saves and things like that going as well, be sure to head over to the channel where you got all that stuff happening. Thank you again for watching, everyone. I'm sure to catch you guys in the next one.